Hey, how you doing? Good? Me too. So, about a month ago, I finally picked my top 15 favorite films of the entire year. And it was very difficult for me to actually pick my number one. This is because I saw two movies that I really wasn't sure of which was my number one pick. But still, it can change in the future. But right now, as of me recording this is my top 15 favorite movies of 2021. Number 15, West Side Story. So I've never seen the original West Side Story. I was never really that interested, even though I do really like musicals. I wasn't really expecting a lot from this, even though it had great buzz. But that's more because I saw Steven Spielberg's last film, Ready Player One, and I thought that was a car crash. But with his new film, West Side Story, he really gets back to his best in years, I would say even. Not to his greatest, but like, it is better than all of the movies he's released the past 10 years. The best thing about West Side Story is the cinematography. It is just so big and impressive in scale and in scope. All of the wonderful dance sequences. A lot of the singing is really great as well. I would say the first half of this movie is probably almost perfect, except Ansel Elgort, but that's something I don't want to talk about right now. That first half of the movie is so perfect that when I saw it in the theaters, I literally began to think this could maybe be even top 5. But then something happens in the second half and the story just becomes a little bit too ridiculous and stupid. And at the end I actually started laughing because I couldn't really take it that serious. And I know it's like movie logic, you know. I would have liked it a whole lot more if that second half was as good as that first half. Even though that first half does have some really stupid, corny movie logic, it is still a really good first half, you know. And my favorite song is, I think it's called Dear Mr. Kripke, when the guys sing it at the police station. That is definitely my favorite part of the movie. Number 14, The Suicide Squad. Okay, listen, yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. I fucking hate the 2016 Suicide Squad. It's awful, I despise it like everybody else. But then I saw this one in theaters with my friend and there were, I think, 8 other people there. I don't know if the rest of the audience was enjoying it, but me and my friend were just laughing and we had such a great time with this. Like, the story is just so much better than the first one and how it's not really told chronologically, just so it's a bit more funny, you know, it's a bit more fun, it's a bit more unexpected. There was a really great way and really well done by James Gunn. I haven't seen a lot of James Gunn movies, but you can tell he really has his style, you know, it's very brutal, it's very big, it's very bloody. And I really loved it. Now, as well as West Side Story, with this I do have some problems. Mainly the character of Harley Quinn. I don't think she is good in this at all. And I really love Margot Robbie, but this character just doesn't work for me. But what I did really love were all of the other characters, you know. Even John Cena Peacemaker was a whole lot of fun. And I thought Idris Elba was a great straight guy, you know, but he was also just mental with the scene he is screaming at his daughter and his daughter is screaming back at him. It was so funny. And I wish that this abomination was in the movie like a bit more, you know. Well, a bit of spoilers. You can skip to this here if you don't want to know anything. That Idris Elba's character is scared of the rat. This is probably my favorite character arc of the entire year. Yeah, when I saw it in the movie theater at the end, like, I almost pissed myself laughing. Like, it was just way too funny. That rat is constantly trying to give Idris Elba a leaf, and Idris Elba is just horrified of this tiny ass rat. But then at the end of the movie, when they won and everything worked out well, then that rat sits like on his lap, you know, and he is still like all tensed up like this, but he gives it like, he strokes it like a little. I mean, that's just the greatest character arc I've probably seen in any movie, you know, like especially this year. I had such a great time with this. So yeah, Suicide Squad number 14. Number 13, The Power of the Dog. I saw this on Netflix. I wish I seen it in a theater, but I don't know if you knew, but like my country was in lockdown and so I couldn't go to the theater. It sucked. When this came out on Netflix, I was very excited about it because I heard a lot of buzz. And yeah, I thought it was great. All of the acting was really, really good. Especially Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, and Kirsten Dunst. I thought they were definitely the standout. I thought the cinematography was fantastic. But why this isn't a bit higher on my list is because I found the story quite predictable. When I peeled it back and like looked at the layers, at some point after like an hour or an hour and a half, I felt like I had seen everything a bit and I knew where it was gonna go. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz and I don't know if I completely agree with it because I think like it's my number 13, so I obviously think that there are a few better movies. But it is really great, and if you haven't checked it out, give it that watch because I think it's really, really good. Number 12, Annette. So I got recommended this movie by a friend of mine. He said like it was like this musical and something like an opera, a theater movie. It was just really over the top. Yeah, it is, you know, it is really big and I've heard that a lot of people don't like it. But I actually really, really enjoyed it. As time moves on, I think I will enjoy it a lot more. But obviously Adam Driver, you know, completely snubbed. He is so good in this movie, it's actually ridiculous. And then the fact that he actually performs it live, you know, that's even more mind-blowing. The first half, when Marion Cotillard, I think I'm saying that correct, when she's in the movie, I thought it was fantastic. It was really, really great. And the second half, just like West Side Story a bit, I didn't enjoy it as much. Spoilers, cut to this time here if you don't want to hear it. And the second half is about using your kid so you can get bigger, more famous, get more money. And I found it quite ironic that at the very end, a real girl appears that is like, what, 6 years old, that is probably being exploited by her parents. I mean, she was, and I truly mean this, like, she was so goddamn good, she deserved an Oscar nomination. That's how good this little 6-year-old was, like. But what I really enjoyed about Annette wasn't even the music, because I didn't think a lot of the songs were all that great. I really liked the first one, So May We Start, and the last one I really loved, Sympathy for the Abyss. I thought that was such a great song. But what I liked most about Annette was how it was made. It is just gorgeous, you know, every single shot, all of the lighting, it's so well done. And there are some things about the style that I don't really like when they are like, oh, so this family is going on a cruise. How is this going for this couple? Then I'm like, okay, you can calm the fuck down now, you know. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it and I would highly recommend it. It's very weird, very out there, but very good as well. Number 11, Drive My Car. So, because of this movie, I started reading a book from Haruki Murakami. It's this one right here. And when I saw this movie, I was a bit skeptical about it because it's of a short story, but the movie is 3 hours long. Alright, but it actually really worked. The slow pace of the movie really gave you a feel for what this character was going through. And even though it didn't really hit me on a personal level, I still really, really liked the movie. And that's mainly because of how it was made, how it was acted, and the progression of the story. Like how the opening scene is like 40 minutes long, you know? And then the real movie starts. I said to all my friends, this is probably the best movie I've ever seen that I've given a 7 out of 10 to. Because it can very easily be an 8 if I watch it again. But I'm not gonna watch it for at least like, I don't know, 3 years or something, I think. And that's because I didn't really like the ending all that much. The movie ends about 4 times or something. But still, I really love this movie. I really like that a lot of shots that you wouldn't really put into your movie. So like the car is literally driving for 2 minutes, you know, and it's like a montage of them just driving over the highway. I thought that gave a very relaxing tone. So yeah, I did really love it, and if you haven't seen it, I really, really, really highly recommend it. Number 10, Spencer. Alright, I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry, Kristen Stewart. Okay, you know, I've never seen Twilight. I only saw some clips and I was like, wow, she fucking sucks at acting. I can't believe anybody says that she can act. And for people telling me that like she's great in Personal Shopper, I've seen clips from that as well. It looks like she also sucks. But this movie, I didn't even see Kristen Stewart. I literally saw Lady Diana. And that was just unbelievable, you know. I wasn't expecting her to be this great, because I don't think she looks like Diana at all. But she really has this sense of her personality and how lovely she was, and just a good person, you know. Also the score, it is completely snubbed for like an Oscar, because I thought that should probably win. This is probably the best score I've heard the entire year. And also the cinematography is just beautiful, the editing is great. Everything technically about the movie is just so extremely good, especially this scene. She's wearing something red, I think. No, she's wearing something white, that's right. And then the ball is white and the ball falls off the table, and like you see her shoes next to it and it's the same color as her shoes, and like how we start from this like super gigantic fucking wide shot, like you just slowly get closer and closer. It is so well done, everything about it. The biggest problem about the movie is that the story is just absolutely non-fucking existent. It's more about her as a person and what she was going through, you know, the mental torture she was put under. I didn't think the story, like I don't really remember a lot about it, I just remember moments. I did think it was just fantastic. It was so well made, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. And I am praying at the Oscars that Kristen Stewart wins the Oscar, because she is without a doubt the best female actor I've seen the entire year. Number 9, Tick Tick Boom. So, I don't know about you, but I don't really like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think he's kind of overrated, and I haven't seen Hamilton, that's probably why. But I don't like his rapping, but he is not really rapping, he's just saying a word and another word that just hasn't to do anything with the previous word, but he uses it because it rhymes, and then he goes faster and faster and he kind of stops and he reverses it. I really don't like his style of rapping, but he is a very talented man, I do have to admit that, especially apparently behind the camera. I think he really brought something great to this movie, a really good style that it needed, like with how the story is told. Like we're seeing Jonathan Larson perform his Tick Tick Boom show, and we are also seeing the things in his life. Like this is definitely the most fun musical I've seen this entire year. That's why it's higher than the other two. And Andrew Garfield, my god, he is so good in this movie, it's ridiculous. He is so charismatic, so much fun, and he has a lot of fun, you know, and he really brings a lot to this role. I watched School of Rock like a few days ago, and what Jack Black gave to that character, that's what Andrew Garfield does for Jonathan Larson. Like, he really gives the charismatic, eccentric, electric performance, and it was so much fun. Also, a lot of the songs were really fun. The most fun song is probably the most famous one, Therapy, you know, with Vanessa Hudgens, who's also quite good in the movie. Everything with Andrew Garfield is just fantastic, and I really loved it. Now, you hear me say everything with Andrew Garfield is great. I don't really think the other characters added anything. I don't think anybody else, like the girlfriend character or the best friend character, like I get this happened in his real life and you want that in the story, of course, but I didn't think they could act at all, if I'm really honest. Everything with Andrew Garfield is so much fun and so great that it really overshadowed every bad aspect of the movie. If you haven't seen this, it is so much fun and you should definitely check it out. Number 8, The Worst Person in the World. So I was really excited for this movie. I thought it was gonna be maybe even my favorite movie of the year. And I saw it and I thought it was great, of course. I mean, it's my number 8, so it's great. I really liked all of the characters, even though I don't like the main character. And that's kind of the point, you know, she needs to kind of go through something. But what I liked about it is that everybody feels really real, you know. Like, she's kind of narcissistic, but if you haven't really met anybody like her in your life, you wouldn't really know that, in my opinion. You would have just, oh, she's just some woman. But I really liked the themes of it, and I really liked all of the performances. Also the weird mushroom scene, that was a lot of fun. There were some great thematics there. Even though maybe a bit on the nose, it really showed a lot. And one of the best scenes of the year, probably top 5, is when the world just stops and she just runs across the street. Like, that scene is just perfect. You know, the music and everything. And I didn't necessarily need the ending where it was like, oh, go for this in the movie. You know, I didn't really need that. And I also had some problems with the narration at the beginning. I think it was necessary, but I would have liked it a bit more if it was told a bit more visually. And not like, ooh, you're watching a movie, haha, let's make you realize, you know. It was fun, but that's where it stopped for me. And I don't really know if the point at the end came across that well for me. Like, I got it, and I like how subtle it was. But I think it's a bit too subtle that it's up for your own interpretation. And it's not really clear what the director's interpretation was with the ending, you know. But yeah, it is a really great movie. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Number 7. Spider-Man No Way Home. Alright, listen. Yeah. I'm probably in the minority. I think so. Of like the cinephile community. But I'm not saying I'm that, but you know. Spider-Man Home Trilogy, as it's called now. I really, really like every single movie. And I especially like Far From Home. I have seen that multiple times and I really, really love it. And I think it's just a great Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man No Way Home, unfortunately I heard a lot. But I still had a lot of fun. And I saw it again. Again, I still had a lot of fun, even though there were these annoying fucking children screaming the entire movie and I said something and they just kept on going. But that's a whole different story for another time. My main point is Spider-Man No Way Home. It is so much fun. It is like you just leave the theater like really bittersweet, you know. It is a really striking ending, actually. This whole movie is so much fun when other characters are introduced from other universes. The movie becomes like fan service the movie. But like the ending remind me a lot of the first Spider-Man movie's ending. Like really bittersweet, really quite depressing, but also quite uplifting. And what the movie really got was like the character of Spider-Man, what he needed to become and what he needed to do. I thought that was just great. And I think if you don't like this movie, if you think it's too fan servicey, I'm like, dude, it's a goddamn Spider-Man movie. Just go in and have some fun. Number 6, The Green Knight. David Lowery is one of the best directors working today. And even with A Ghost Story, I've seen every single movie of him, apart from Pete's Dragon, I think. His style is so slow-paced and so different, you know, and very strange. And with this movie, The Green Knight, he really shows that he can make one hell of a beautiful movie. This movie is completely snubbed at the Oscars because it is freaking weird. And that's why I love it so much, you know. It is very strange, very out there. And the task that Gaia 1 has, there's nothing really all that noble about it, you know. But it is just a task that he has to experience and he has to endure. Not only that, the movie is quite self-aware. It has a lot of jokes and I really didn't see that coming. And also Dev Patel is just really, really great. So is Barry Keoghan, so is Joel Edgerton, so is Alicia Vikander. They're all great. And just the small stories that The Green Knight tells are just fantastic. You know, I love this movie. And if you haven't seen it, it's very strange, very out there, but I think it's something that you need to see for yourself. Number 5, Dune. So this was my most anticipated movie for about 2 years. And I saw it in theaters 3 separate times. And I saw it opening day, opening screening actually. And it was very quiet in the theater. Everybody was just enjoying the movie and it was wonderful. Everything people are saying, the scope, the world, it's all great. Denis Villeneuve is such a great director and he's really probably the best director working today, definitely in the science fiction category. And I just love and had to learn to appreciate the slow world building. I told people like a few months even before the movie was released that Denis Villeneuve was just throwing out another masterpiece because Blade Runner 2049 is so extremely great. And this movie is also really great. Not a masterpiece, unfortunately. I do have some problems with it, mainly with a few things with the story and the characters and things like that. But one person that nobody is talking about, and that is in my opinion completely snubbed for an Oscar, is Oscar Isaac. He carries this movie so much. Like, he is so great in the movie. And when he isn't in the movie anymore, his presence is still being felt by this movie. And he's kind of being missed, if I'm really honest, that second half. Also, there are so many scenes that I think are just gonna become iconic, you know, like with the sandworm and the invasion, you know, how they always kind of cut away when the action starts to tell the story, and I thought that actually worked great. There is also just this terrifying scene where these guys are just, you know, coming down like really quietly. That just freaked me out, if I'm really honest. It's such a great movie, and if you still haven't seen it, and I don't know why, check it out. Please, because it's completely worth your time, and it's great to see it in theaters. And if you can't, just buy a huge TV with the best sound system available and just watch this movie. Number 4, The French Dispatch. What the hell happened? Did everybody just forget that this movie came out this year? This was so great. It was kind of a different kind of Wes Anderson story while still being extremely like a Wes Anderson kind of story. And I thought it was just fantastic. I saw it 2 times in theaters. And the first time I saw it, I was just blown away, you know, with Benicio del Toro, Adrian Brody, Frances McDormand. But especially the first 2, they were so much fun, so great, so funny. It was also well acted. I don't know. Everybody just forgot this, I think. Because even the song Eileen, you know, it was just a great song. And I made a review about this movie talking about how much I enjoyed it, and the second time I still enjoyed it just as much. I can see where my problems are with the movie, mainly in the Timothée Chalamet, Frances McDormand story, but the other 2 were just really fun. Really what you want to see when you go to a theater, just a fun experience, you know. Watching it the second time, because it is all black and white, and then it sometimes turns into color. And when you watch it the second time, you will notice why it turns to color. And that's just something I said, I think, in my last review, that I didn't really understand that. Seeing it the second time, I get it now, you know. Like, the first one is about art, you know, and every time we see painting or somebody's talking about it, we jump into this life, you know, we see it in color, just gorgeous. The third one, every time it's about like cooking, you see it in color. But if you haven't seen this yet, this is one of Wes Anderson's best movies, and I really loved it. Number 3, Bo Burnham, Inside. For people saying this is not a movie, shut the hell up, it is a movie. Alright, the lighting, the storytelling, the songs, everything about this will say it's a movie, because like I said, the lighting is better than a lot of the movies. The songs are better than every single musical I've seen this year. And the story and the themes are just as much of a movie that has ever been made. Talking about Bo Burnham Inside, I saw it just like the rest of everybody. I am a huge Bo Burnham fan, and when I saw this, I didn't really get the point of it the first time I saw it until the ending. But it is just about this man having this mental breakdown after the pandemic, and it really took a toll out of him, and it did for a lot of people as well. This movie is probably the most personal thing I've seen this entire year, talking about depression, suicidal thoughts, and just seeing Bo's existential crisis made a lot of people feel like they were not alone in this, you know, that there was somebody else out there that was feeling like this. Everybody felt so alone. There was this guy that was feeling the same. You are not alone, even though physically you are not. You know, and I think that message really struck a chord with me. And this is the movie I watch most times last year. I seen it 6 times and I wish I could have seen it in a theater. I wish it was somewhere. I know it was in America. The first time I saw it, I thought it was not really true. I thought he was kind of just performing it until the point where he's like kind of hitting himself, wanting to talk, and he just can't say the words and he feels so frustrated. And when he says, "I am not well," and he just breaks down. That was the point where I realized, wow, this is something really emotional and really tough, you know? But apart from those themes, what do I love about it? Like the songs, you know? I know every single one of them completely off the top. With my favorite absolutely being Goodbye. How that song is set up is just ridiculous. Like, well, look who's inside again. Went out to look for a reason to hide again. That kind of bars. Those kind of bars really struck a chord with me. And I really thought that worked incredibly well. Because it's just this interlude into the special, like halfway through, I think. Where you just start singing this and you're like, alright, that was random. And then when it gets back incorporated, when he sits there naked, that is just great thematics. That is just a great setup, you know? It is just so well done. Everything about it, and the lighting is just gorgeous, you know? What Bo is able to do with just himself, it's something really commendable. And kind of depressing, you know? The fact that and I think everybody on the planet will never make something that good by themselves, you know? Alright, for my top 2, these are the 2 only movies I rated at 10. And I was struggling, you know? I wanted to bring this video a whole lot earlier if my laptop hadn't crashed. But not only that, if I could pick a goddamn movie for my number 1 spot, you know? Finally, I picked them. And these 2 could interchange, but I did pick it, so here are my top 2 movies of 2021. Number 2, Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, I know that a lot of people kind of have some issues with the movie regarding it doesn't really have a plot. It's just about characters. Some of my friends said that the characters they come across don't really affect anything, which I don't agree with. This movie is about just 2 teens, or one is a teen, one is like in their 20s or something. It's never really specified because she says something else 3 times. And this movie is just about them and how the guy is trying to get the girl, but the girl doesn't really want to. And it's just about being young. Cooper Hoffman, son of one of my favorite actors of all time, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm sorry, but he's not that handsome of a guy, but he has a whole lot of charismatic energy about him. He is so determined and he really has a kind of goal in mind, you know, something he wants to achieve, he wants to be successful, and he just works and works and works and he doesn't stop. And that is so commendable and so much fun to watch. But apart from that, we get all of these amazing scenes with all of these great actors. Bradley Cooper, also again completely snubbed for an Oscar. That scene is so much fun, he has so much energy, it is just so great. And every single scene is so funny, you know, until it isn't and it gets a bit more serious. And when I saw it in the theater, I was like, oh, it's not as funny anymore. Why is that? And then you realize why that is, you know, for this one specific moment, that they just built the fun part of the movie a bit off so they can have this serious moment about it. But the ending is so uplifting and so gorgeous and exactly what I want to see in a movie, you know, just a fun time that is really well made. Paul Thomas Anderson is a master. He is just so great at making movies. It's almost ridiculous how good he is. And with this movie, he kind of went back to his Boogie Night roots, you know, having a bit more fun. Not like the Phantom Threads, the There Will Be Blood. It was more like the Boogie Nights, the Punch Drunk Loves. It was just a fun tone that really, really worked for this movie. And I just loved seeing it. I loved the experience. I saw it in 17mm. I loved it, but that theater experience, seeing it with an entire audience there, just having so much fun. Everybody was laughing in the theater. Everybody was having a great time. Nobody was talking, nobody was on their phone, everybody was just enjoying the movie from start to finish, and I did as well, along with my best friend. And then, my favorite movie of the entire year, number 1, Red Rocket by Sean Baker. Sean Baker as a director is somebody that really wants to show you true human nature. I actually wrote a review on Letterboxd about this. And with this, he shows us Mikey Saber played with a performance of a lifetime by Simon Rex. He is the best actor I've seen the entire year, completely snubbed for every single thing. But he gives the best performance of the entire year and one of the best performances I've ever seen in my entire life. It doesn't really have a story, it's just about a character. And here Simon Rex plays a person just so terrible, such an awful human being. But why he is so great is because he is so much fun to watch. And why is he so much fun to watch? Because Simon Rex gives this character a personality that you almost kinda have to root for. This guy is a bad guy, but he is so extremely determined and driven to get his goal, to get what he wants. He is so funny, so charismatic, but just a terrible person, you know, and it is so well done, even by Sean Baker writing this story, because this kind of person is really hard to write, because they can come across unlikable and just you hate them, you hate watching them, but because he gives him so much personality and he is so determined, he is so much fun, you know? And everything this character does, you think like, oh, he's gonna get away with this and he's gonna just leave this path of destruction that is hinted at before, that he did before. You're kind of worried about the other characters because not only Mikey is great, every single other character is as well, you know? And when I saw it, like when I was halfway through, because I didn't see any 10 in 2021 until this, and I was like, this could be it. And when the movie was over and the song Bye 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 by NSYNC, the song sucks, to be honest. But how the song is used in the movie is so incredibly well. And when at first at the intro, one of the greatest opening scenes I've ever seen, because it sucks you right in with the song, when it just cuts and you're like, oh, that's a weird cut, and then the movie goes on and you realize why it cuts. And when you realize those type of things, you're like, wow, that's so smart, you know, that you thought of that, that you made that choice. That's such a good choice, you know. Red Rocket, I know a lot of people haven't seen it, but please do. And if it is out on Blu-ray, DVD, I don't know, I hope it does come out here. Just buy it, because I truly, truly love this movie. Now, that was a really long video. I probably took like a long time to edit this. Please leave it a like. Give me your top 10 favorite movies of the year. Please, I am so curious about other people's opinions. You can expect a bit more regularity with the uploads. Thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel.